This is my second show, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So, the topic of the day is 3 things boys need to master to become men. 3 things. It has nothing to do with being in a relationship. There's 3 important things. Number 1, responsibility. If you teach a young man how to be responsible, you've covered half the battle for him. There's so many things that he could be responsible for, and the first and foremost is his family. I remember as a young man watching my elders and tending to my elders. I would travel around the city on my bike and go visit them. I would go cut grass. I would go shovel snow. I'd go to the store. It was so important to me that they understood that I cared. And that's part of being a family. I would show up and they would tell me things and tell me some things about what's going on in their world and their history, which is very important because someone needs to talk to them and they need to talk to somebody. But you also have to be responsible to your siblings because part of the family is protection. I know you guys remember somebody was messing with your brother. If it was your little brother, you had to go show up. If it was your big brother, you had to go show up. It showed unity. It showed that you cared enough about what was going on with your family that you showed up, and sometimes you had to fight. I remember seeing my brother fight for me. I remember seeing my sister fight for me. That felt good. And that's a part of being responsible to your family. You're also responsible to your parents. By doing some of the things they need you to do. And you should be in a position to reciprocate the love that they give to you. See, we don't often talk about that. Children reciprocating. If you love your parents, love them back. Love them back and be responsible. That means doing what you're supposed to do also. It means completing your schoolwork. It means looking out for the yard, helping in the garage. On Sunday morning when it's time to clean up, or Saturday, whichever your family does, that's important too, because you're a part of the family. It includes your room, because sometimes we often forget that. We think that's our sanctuary, but you are responsible to keep that clean and healthy. And occasionally, throw some air freshener in there. So that's number 1. Number 2 is be accountable for your actions. There are certain things you have to do while you're connected to your family. There's certain things that you should be accountable for. What you say and what you do. That's part of integrity, being accountable. So if you're tasked with something, you need to complete it. If you take on a job, go to work. Whatever you say you're going to do it. And if you fail, stand up. People often lie when they don't want to be accountable. People often misplace blame when they don't want to be accountable. See, we like to get the good things in life, but we don't want to be accountable for our failures. So if I can get you to understand that whatever you say will manifest into your life. So, if you don't want to be known as a liar or unaccountable, do the things that are in line with being accountable. So, what does that look like? You are responsible for your grades. And if you bring back bad grades, you need to share why you are not in line with your goals. Because there may be some consequences. And my son, he used to want to know what the consequences were first to see if he can deal with it. That's not the right thing to do. The right thing to do is be accountable for the lane that you're in and do everything for that. So we just can't say that I can take what's about to happen to me. That's not being accountable. Accountable is sticking to what you started out to do. And that's achieve. No one's goal is to fail. Being accountable is one of the best things you can do because it can be seen. People know when you're on point. People know when you're applying yourself. People know when you're sticking to your word. And they will let you know. If it goes into your adult life, it will result in a peaceful life, more than likely gainfully employed. Because when you're not accountable, people tend to turn away from you. And that can take away from your money and all your plans and all those glorious things you thought you were going to buy. So, be accountable. Be accountable for your time. Be accountable for your work. Let's talk about number 3, limitations. Knowing your limitations and not going beyond them will help you in life. Now, the tough part about limitations is figuring out what your limitations are. Right. I get that. So, if anybody's old enough to remember the crash test dummies, you can learn a lot from a dummy. Everyone you come in contact with is your dummy. They've been through some things and they survived some things. What they've done is they've grasped some wisdom. And their wisdom is your knowledge. And if you apply it, it will make your life easier. Speeding on the highway, that's a limitation. Why? Because when you don't, they give you tickets. When they give you tickets, it costs money. So for those who don't know, in Georgia, they have a super ticket. And that super ticket is a ticket they give you on top of the speeding ticket that you got. They know we don't know our limit. Since they've instituted that super ticket law, they've collected over $90 million. Because they know that we can't, or we have to learn our limitations on speeding. I know this because I had to learn my limitation on speeding. So I helped create that $90 million. Now, since then, I have not gotten a speeding ticket. I don't even own that car because the car went that fast. And if they didn't want me to go that fast, they wouldn't have made it that fast. That's irresponsible, and I had to be accountable for my actions. As a matter of fact, what happened, I went for a job interview with the railroad. And the man asked me, had I had any safety violations in the last couple of years? Because when you apply for the railroad, you have to put all your tickets and things like that on your application. And he asked me about the ticket. And I told him I had no excuse for driving that fast. I just wanted to drive that fast that day. I didn't get the job. I'm thinking because in asking me the question about speeding and my response, it might have shown that I was irresponsible. Even though I paid the ticket, which made me accountable for my actions. But maybe I didn't have a limitation. Sometimes the lack of limitation can prove to be a loss of life for other people. I think those are the three things that are very important for a boy who's striving to be a man to master.